Hello everyone and welcome to The Pond. My name is Frank, aka Bullfrog TCG, and today we are taking a look at LEONA. Now LEONA is a deck that I've been trying to make for a couple days now, but she just didn't feel right to me. But today I finally have a deck that I'm really happy with, and I think you're gonna see why. So without further ado, let's take a look at the deck list. So LEONA, Radiant Dawn. When you stun one or more enemy units, buff a friendly unit. So this can be compared to Lee Sin, but whereas Lee Sin requires you to pay an energy and then exhaust himself to buff something, this requires you to stun something. So it requires a bit more effort in terms of deck building, but also gameplay to get the ability of, but you're also rewarded for doing so. And there are three key differences that makes this ability way better than Lee Sin's, in my opinion. One, it doesn't require additional resources, so you don't have to pay anything to get this ability. Two, this can also be used on your opponent's turn. If you have like stun spells, you can use it like reactively as well and defensively. And then three, this is not once per turn. So if you manage to stun 3 things, you'll get 3 buffs. Now, it is worth noting that this says when you stun 1 or more enemy units. So if you stun, for example, 2 things with 1 spell, you're still only going to get 1 buff. But if you stun 3 things with 3 different spells, then you're going to get 3 buffs. So that is something that is important to remember when playing this deck. But okay, your main way of getting this ability is through the champion herself. So LEONA Determined. 4 energy, 1 power, 4 might unit with shield, and when I attack, stun an enemy unit here. Now this is what your whole deck is built around. This is by far the most important card in the deck because it just stuns on attack. So this is very much a character that wants to attack a lot. But it also has shields, so it does get a bit bigger on defense, which is also nice to kind of give it a bit more protection. But usually you want to conquer with this, and then on the following turn you just want to go back to the base and then conquer again on the next turn. So it is very much like a movement heavy deck in that way. But okay, let's take a look at the other units. So we have 3 Soaring Scout, 2 energy, 1 might, Death Knell, Channel 1 Rune Exhausted. So this is just an early play to get get some early conquer points. And then also the channel is really nice because you do recycle a little bit in this deck. So just getting an extra resource back is really good. And then we have Eclipse Herald, 7 energy, 1 power, 7 might unit. When you stun an enemy unit, ready me and give me +1 might this turn. Now this card is, because I've seen a lot of LEONA lists that don't play this card and I can't understand why. Like this is such a house and it synergizes so well with both the LEONA champion, but also like all the stun spells we have in the deck. And you can make some really funny plays with this that you're gonna see later in the videos. So the easiest way to make this work is to, when you play it out, if you have the LEONA on board already, you can play this out, attack with LEONA, stun something, then ready this, give it +1, and then also give it a buff from the LEONA champion or the LEONA legend. So on play, this is going to be a 9 might attacker, and that's going to get rid of a lot of stuff. So yeah, this card is a really good card in this deck, and that's why I played as a 3 of, because I want to see this guy every game. And then yeah, we play the LEONA as a 3 of. As I said, it is the most important card in the deck, so you know we do want to see multiples of her. And then we play 2 Clockwork Keeper. No, I'm sorry, we play 3 Clockwork Keeper. 2 energy, 2 might unit. Then as you play me, you may pay 1 green power as an additional cost. If you do, draw 1. So this is also like both Soaring Scout and the Clockwork Keeper and the Poro is just early plays to kind of get your game going and to snag some early points and kind of to keep the board clear and stuff. But the additional benefit of this card is that it draws you a card as well, because green and yellow don't really have the best ways of drawing cards, but this one is one of the better ones, I think. So that's why I'm running it as a 3 of. And then I'm also running 3 Stalwart Poro, 2 energy, 2 might, shield. Again, early game unit, you play it out, you conquer something, and then on defense it gets a bit bigger, so it's a bit harder for your opponent to kind of conquer back. So yeah, just really solid early unit. And then we play 3 Zani's Hourglass, 2 energy, hidden gear. The next time a friendly unit would die, kill this instead. Recall that unit exhausted. I mean, yeah, as I said, keeping LEONA alive is your #1 priority. So that's why the Zani's Hourglass is just there to do exactly that, to keep the LEONA alive. You do have to be kind of careful with playing this card, because you are also usually having at least one of these smaller units out on the board when you play this, or when you have the ability to play this. So if your opponent knows about it, they could kill one of these smaller guys instead of the Leona to kind of get this off the field, because when something dies, you have to use it. You can't like save it for something else. So you do have to be a bit tactical with that. And then also we play 1 Solari Shrine, 3 energy. When you kill a stunned enemy unit, you may exhaust this to draw 1 card. I think this ability is really good, and you wouldn't necessarily mind drawing multiples as well, but as of now, I don't think there are enough good stun cards to kind of get this ability off consistently. But I do like it as a one-off, just because like if I draw it, I can play it out and then maybe get some value out of it. So yeah, for now I'm only running it as a one-off. But in the future, when we get like more and better stun cards, I could see this getting bumped up. And then we play a bunch of spells. So 3 Defy, counter a spell that costs no more than 4 and no more than 1 power, and it costs 1 energy and 1 power itself. It's just the staple card in green at this point. It just counters a lot of stuff, a lot of removal cards. So just a really solid card. We also play 2 Charm, 1 energy, 1 might, move an enemy unit. I think like the deck this is meant to be played in, or like synergizes best with this card, is definitely Ahri, because you always want to be defending that deck. This deck, it's not as good because you're so much stronger on attack. But I do like it as a 2-of, just to be able to kind of remove stuff from the battlefield. And I could also see it getting bumped up to 3. It was just really hard to kind of find place for the 3rd one in this deck. So for now, I'm only running it as a 2-of. And then 3 Discipline, 2 Energy, Reaction, give a unit +2 this turn, draw 1. Just a good spell. Give something +2 and then draws one itself, or draws one so it replaces itself. Just good to keep a Leona alive, to kind of get above some removal spells, and also get above when you're attacking and both attacking and defending. So just a solid card. 3 Rune Prison, 2 energy, 1 power, action, stun unit. Like, together with the Leona champion, this is your main way of stunning units, is like the stun spells. And this is just a really good card because it's cheap. It stuns anything. So, I mean, usually you don't really care about stunning stuff off the battlefield, but that could come up, I guess. So you can do that as well. But it's just a really cheap spell that kind of synergizes with your whole deck. So yeah, just a really good card. And then we play 2 Facebreaker, 2 energy, hidden, action, stun a friendly unit and an enemy unit at the same battlefield. So this might at first glance seem like not that good of a card because you have to stun your own guy as well. But what I found after playing this deck a lot is that, because I didn't include it in the beginning, but what I found is that I am defending quite a lot. And when you're defending, stunning your own guy doesn't matter that much, especially if they're only like attacking with one big guy. Because if you stun yours and theirs, even though no damage is going to get dealt. And then we play 2 Facebreaker, hidden, action, stun a friendly unit and an enemy unit at the same battlefield. This might seem like not that great of a card because you also have to stun your own unit, which makes sense. But what I found with this deck is that you are holding quite a lot, or you are defending quite a lot. And when you're defending, the fact that you have to stun one of your own units doesn't necessarily matter that much, especially if your opponent is only attacking with like one huge unit. The fact that you stun your own unit doesn't matter because his unit, even if we can't kill it, is just going to get moved back to the base, exhausted, so he can't attack again. So this is just a really solid card when it comes to defending battlefields. Obviously not as good when you're attacking, but I mean then you could also just like stun one of your soaring scouts, for example. Like this is just 1 damage that's not going to come through, and then you can still have your like Leonas and whatever and your heralds attacking. So I think this is just a really solid card. So I think this should definitely be played more in this deck. And then we are also playing Leona's signature spell. So Zenith Blade, 3 energy, 2 power, action. Stun an enemy unit at a battlefield. You may move a friendly unit to that enemy unit's battlefield. So this is just so good on this deck because it almost gives your Leona and your other characters ganking. And with Leona especially, like if your opponent has 2 units at a battlefield, you can stun 1 unit and then bring the Leona in, and then Leona will stun the other one. So this is just a really, really solid card in this deck. And it's also an action, so you could, like if your opponent is attacking, you could also stun whatever is attacking and then move something something else into that battlefield. And that could be from a battlefield or from the base. So it's really flexible in that way. But for now, I'm only running it as a 2-of because it is kind of expensive with a 2 power cost. But I will say, like, this spell package, like, I think they all have their place in this deck, but the numbers could be tweaked for sure. So if you want to run 3 of this or 3 of this and then kind of mix and match, you can do that. But for now, this is what I landed on. And then for our final spells, we are running 3 on guard, 1 energy, reaction, give a friendly unit +1 might this turn, then an additional +1 might this turn if it is the only unit you control there. So a lot of times we are attacking with 1 unit, like with the Leona. So then this just becomes a really cheap pump spell. Like getting 2 might for 1 energy is just really good because it allows you to be really flexible with like your rune usage. So I really like it for that reason. And then also if you have multiple units, it could also just buff something with 1, which could be the difference between a breakpoint, but I mean it is way better when you're only attacking with 1 guy. So yeah. And then we play 3 Call to Glory. Now the main reason this card is in the deck is because of Kaisa. Because this says 3 energy, reaction, as you play this you may spend a buff as an additional cost. If you do, ignore this spell's cost. Give a unit +3 this turn. So as I said, the main reason this card is in the deck is against Kaisa, because one of our worst nightmares is Falling Star. And if you have a Leona on the battlefield, for those of you who don't know, Falling Star is 2 energy, deal 3 damage twice. And the key thing about Falling Star is that it hits off battlefield too. So if your Leona gets like Falling Starred, that's going to be really bad because that's going to be 6 damage. But if your Leona is buffed, or not buffed, I guess, you can still cast this for its full cost if you want. But if it is buffed, this is just a free +3, which is gonna get Leona up to 7, which means he's gonna survive the Falling Star. So this card is just really good on this deck. And also, like, if you have a lot of energy, just getting +3 to something is just good, you know. So yeah, that's why we are running this as 3-of, and I never want to go back down to, 2, 1, or 0 even. And then let's take a look at the battlefields. Now, I will say one of the things, as I mentioned, like one of the things that this deck can struggle with is card draw. And that's why all the 3 cards, or all the 3 battlefields, are card draw battlefields. So we have Monastery of Harana. When you conquer here, you may spend a buff to draw one. Just synergizes really well with the deck. And it also is a battlefield that your opponent usually is not going to get any use out of, unless they're playing like Set or Master Yi, I guess. And then we play the Dreaming Tree. The first time you choose a friendly unit with a spell here each turn, draw 1. So this, obviously is just really good because we do play a lot of spells. But the key thing about this battlefield is that this triggers even if the spell gets countered, because it only requires you to choose a friendly unit. So if you choose a friendly unit, this ability is actually going to get resolved before the spell you cast gets resolved, which is really important to know. And then finally, we have Grow of the God Willow. When you hold here, draw 1. Like I said, we are holding quite a lot and defending quite a lot, and Leona also has the shield, so she is pretty good at defending in that way. So this hopefully also gets us like some cards back. And then for the runes, we are playing 7 Order and then 5 Calm runes, because I never want to be in a situation where I have 4 runes and they're all calm, so I can't play the Leona out. Because Leona is usually what you want to play out, like you want to play around on curve every single game usually. And this video, I'm trying something new. So we're going to do some honorable mentions. These are some cards that didn't make the cut, and I'm going to try to explain why I didn't include them. So the first card is Solari Shieldbearer. 3 energy, 2 might, and when you play me, stun a unit. So this might seem like it synergizes really well with the deck, which it does. It kind of enables the whole legend ability. But the problem I find is that if you play this out, if you don't have any other units to work with it, you don't really get any benefit from stunning unit. And I think, like, if you have the Leona on board and you play this, that's 3 energy that could have been used to potentially hold back spells to protect the Leona instead. So for that reason, I think this is not as good as it seems, at least not for now. Maybe something comes out that makes this card really good. But for now, I think it's just really slow. Like if this had like Accelerate, this would be amazing, because then you could stun something and attack you into it at the same time. But if this is like your only card on the battlefield, it doesn't do anything. I guess the only thing it does is it gets you a buff, but then it's just going to be a 3 for 3, which is like okay. So yeah, I don't think this card is that good. Next one is Wizened Elder, 4 energy, 4 might. While I'm buffed, I have an additional +1. The main reason I don't really like this card is that it is in the same slot that Leona is in. Like if I'm on 4 energy and I have this in my hand, like I'd rather just play Leona, you know? And also it is just like a big stat stick. It doesn't really do anything outside of that. So I think I would rather have, like I want my units to do a bit more than just being big. So that's why I don't include this one. And then we have Solari Chief, 5 energy, 1 power, 4 might unit. When you play me, choose an enemy unit. If it is stunned, kill it. Otherwise, stun it. Now I think my main problem with this card is that if you're gonna have something stunned on the battlefield, it would either require you to swing with a Leona, but in that case, like if I'm swinging with Leona and stunning something, then that thing is probably going to be killed anyways. Or I would have to use a spell, so for example I can use a Rune Prison, but then this becomes like 7 energy to kill something, and also 2 power, which, I don't know, I think it's just a bit expensive. Like if we get a really cheap stun spell, or like a unit that stuns or something like that, then I could see this card being really good. But for now, I think it's a bit slow. And also like the on-play stun is like the same problem with the Shield Bearer. Like just playing on, like stunning on play doesn't do anything by itself. Like you need to have some way to benefit off of that. Like again, you do get the buff, but then this is also just going to be a 5 for 5, which is just a okay stats. So yeah, I think it is a bit slow, so that's why I'm not running it. And then finally we have Leona Zealot, the other champion unit. 6 energy, 1 power, 6 might unit. If an opponent's score is within 3 points of the victory score, I enter ready. Stunned enemy units here have +8 might, I'm sorry, -8 might to a minimum of 1. I'm gonna be honest, I haven't played this card a lot, but I think my main problem with it is that it relies on your opponent doing well in the game. And I don't think that's, like for me, that's not a reliable enough reason to play this card. Like obviously it is really good. Like stun enemy units having -8 is just like, okay, well that's just gonna get rid of anything, I guess. But I think like if I'm spending 6, I'd rather just spend 7 and then play the Herald instead, because the Herald is gonna enter ready more reliably than this one is, and that also has the potential to attack multiple times a turn, the Herald. So that's why I think this kind of fits the same purpose as that, as like being something that enters ready. But I just think I like the Herald a bit more. So yeah, that's why I'm not running this one. And okay, that is the deck list. We're gonna jump into some games where you're really gonna see the power of this deck, but also the weaknesses, I guess. So with that, I hope you enjoy the games, and I will see you at the end for the wrap-up. Okay, game 1 versus Viktor. We are on the Dreaming Tree, and our opponent is on Treferian War Camp, I guess it's called. This is a bit of a different version of Viktor, because he's playing the blue Viktor champion instead of the yellow one, which is not the traditional choice, but let's see what he can do. Okay, so turn 1 we are playing our Poro out. Now having an early play against Viktor is really important, because you don't want to play out the Leona without having anything else on the board. Because Viktor plays Cull the Weak, which makes you choose one of your units and then just kill it. And if Leona is the only one on the board, then, you know, she has to go. So getting an early point like this, or like an early unit like this, is really important. Okay. Okay, our opponent is gonna go ahead and play a Ravenbloom student, and then making a recruit token with the Viktor ability, okay? We are gonna go conquering the Treferian War Camp, and we are gonna play out the Leona. We decided to play out the Leona from the champion zone first, even though we have one in the hand, just because we don't want to give our opponent any information. Yeah, like now we're really safe against the Cull the Weak, because if he uses it, we can just like kill the Poro instead, which, I mean, the Poro has already done his job. It's conquered a point, and maybe he's gonna hold a point as well. Okay, he's gonna go conquering with a recruit, get a point, and then he's gonna, for 4 energy, play a Cruel Patron, and then playing a recruit in the base. Yeah, so I mean, this is a really smart way to do this. Like, he could have played the recruit out first and then used the Cruel Patron to kill that, but conquering and then killing the recruit that conquered makes it so that I can't attack into the Leona to stun it and then get a buff. So this just kind of cleanly plays around my legend ability, which is not bad. Okay, but we are going to get a point for holding with the Poro, and then we're going to go conquering the Dreaming Tree, get another point. We're gonna play out the Poro and then recycling one to hide the Hourglass. So now we feel really safe because we have like both. We have protection against swinging with the Rune Prison. We have the Hourglass for potential removals. So yeah, we're feeling really safe in this position. Okay, something big. Okay, he's playing out the Riptide Rex. So, like, see, this is the exact situation we want the Hourglass for. We can just reveal the Hourglass, use it, and then Leona survives. Yep, he's gonna go recruiting, or go conquering with the recruit, I guess. And then he's gonna swing hard with the Cruel Patron and the Ravenbloom Student. So I decided to go for the Rune Prison here, just because I do wanna, like, get points efficiently here. And Rune Prison is just gonna stun the Cruel Patron, so that kind of forces him to have something to buff the Ravenbloom Student. Like he could have a Stupefy, for example. But this way I'm gonna stun the Cruel Patron, and then I'm gonna kill the Ravenbloom Student. Yep, and that is exactly what happened. And then he's not gonna be able to get any points this turn, and I'm gonna get one for holding instead. So yeah, this is just really efficient. And then yep, stunning the patron, or no, stunning the recruit, getting another point, or getting a buff and also getting another point. We're gonna move in with the Poro because this is probably gonna be a big swing that's coming into this battlefield next turn. So I kind of want to have more defenses up. But we do have both the On Guard and the yellow spell that I can't remember the name of right now. And he goes for the Cult of Weak. Well, that is an easy Cult of Weak. See, this is why we play those small guys early, because if he has Cult of Weak, we can just, you know, kill whatever is least important to us. And for now, this battlefield is definitely the one we kind of want to hold on to. So killing the other one was just an easy choice. Okay, he's gonna go full swing here. Makes sense. We are gonna On Guard, give something +1, Leona, hoping to draw into something. He's gonna play Shen. Now I told him here that Shen doesn't work because, I mean, Shen has reactions, so you could play him react speed, but you can't play him onto a battlefield that you don't control. So now I'm controlling the battlefield and he's attacking into it. So if it was the other way around, you could play it out. So Shen is a purely defensive card, so you can't play it on attack. Okay, yep, I'm gonna get a boost on Leona. And then draw one. We draw the Hourglass, which doesn't really help us here. And then, yeah, the Poro gets a +1 because it has Defender. So right now, we're looking at 6 from Leona and then 3 from the Poro, which is 9. And his units are 12. So with this final spell we have, we could go up to 12. That is going to let us trade. So if he doesn't have anything here, then that's just going to clear everything. But unfortunately, he does have the Siphon Power, which is kind of a blowout. But we are going to kill one thing. So we do kill the Riptide Rex, and then we just try to build back up. But like now we're also like we're ahead because we're at 5 points and he's at 3 points. So we're not looking too bad, even though we did get kind of blown out that last round. Yes, we're just going to play Leona and an Hourglass. He also played the Recruit last turn that he forgot to do, so I just let him do that. Yep, conquering with a Scout, getting a point. And then he's gonna play out another Cruel Patron. Okay. Okay, so he does have a big board, he does have that. But like here you can kind of see the strength of the Herald. So we're gonna play out the Herald. Then we're gonna attack with the Leona. Stun this. And he plays out the Shen. Now this time the Shen does work. But because I do get the stun off, we are gonna restand this Herald. Yep, so Leona gets a buff. So both Leona and Shen are 5s, and I can't kill the Falcon because Leona is because Shen has tank, so I have to deal damage to that first. But because we did get the stun on the bird, the Eclipse Herald is gonna become active, and then we can just attack in with that instead. Or attack with that also, and then get the point. And then yeah, we recycle one and play another Hourglass. So the Hourglasses are just so good in this deck. Because keeping like these 2 units in specific alive is so important. He's gonna play out a Viktor there, yeah, so he's just trying to hold this battlefield for dear life. Which makes sense, and then he's also gonna play Scout just on an additional point. Then he's gonna move the Cruel Patron back, and he's gonna play a Recruit into the base. Yeah, so he doesn't want to sacrifice his Patron, and I mean, the Herald is at a battlefield, so that can't really do much now. But let's see what I get up to, because here you can really see the strength of the Herald. So at first I decided to go into this battlefield just to try to hold this for another round. But then I thought, like, wait, can I just win now? So okay, great. Let's reset a bit. Something okay. Because I can go move the Herald back, swing in with Leona, stun something. Yep. The Herald is gonna get a buff and a +1 and a restand. Leona is gonna be able to kill all the little guys, and yeah, I mean, I forgot to activate the Hourglass, but he let me do that after the fact, I guess. So yeah, and the Leona is at a 5, so he's gonna be able to kill both Viktor, the Scout, and the Recruit. He does have Stupefy, but we have, of course, the Defy in our hand. Just gonna counter that. Yep. And then kill those. The Hourglass is gonna protect the Leona, and then we just go in with the Herald for the final kill. So yeah, like that is the strength of the Herald. Like the Herald is so good in this deck. Like there we had it on a battlefield, and then we attacked another battlefield with a Leona, and then we like moved it back, and then it restood, and then we attacked the same battlefield again. Like it's so flexible. It does so much for this deck. And that's like one of the things. Like stunning is good, but if you don't have proper payoffs for stunning, then it doesn't really accomplish that much. So yeah, that was a really good game. On to the next one. Okay, game 2 versus Kai'Sa. Now, you might notice that I have a Spirit's Refuge in my hand. That is because this is a sideboarded game, and Spirit's Refuge is really good against Kai'Sa because it basically gives all your buffed units deflect, which means that he has to recycle an additional rune if he wants to target our units that has buffs on it. And the best part about this card is that if he plays Falling Star, which also has 2 power cost, Falling Star targets twice. So if he targets buffed units, then he has to pay deflect twice, which is really good. But okay, let's see what happens here. He is on the play. He's not going to do anything. We're going to play out a Clockwork Keeper and draw an extra one, draw Poro. Okay. He is going to go ahead and play a Ballista. Now Ballista is really good against like these small units because it doesn't care about, like for the Poro for example, the Poro has Defender, so he gets +3 on defense, but the Ballista doesn't care about that. Like the Ballista just pings it for 2 without activating the defense. But we have the Spirit's Refuge, which both protects the Keeper from being killed by the Ballista, but it also makes it so he has to pay deflect cost to activate the Ballista. So the Spirit's Refuge just kind of denies him all that Ballista value, which is really good for us. He is gonna play Hextech Ray. He's gonna have to -1, and then an additional one for the deflect. But we have the Discipline to power it up to make it a 5, and then he's just gonna get 3 damage, and then he's still gonna survive. So we're gonna get that hold, or get that conquer, which is really good. We're not gonna use because we could use the Monastery of Harana effect there to draw one, but we don't want to spend the buff because then he could just kill it with a Ballista. So we just don't draw anything. He is gonna play out. Okay, the Kai'Sa. Does he want to accelerate it too? Yes, he does. He decides to go for the other one. I don't really know why he did that because, I mean, okay, I guess he was playing around the Call of Glory, which, yeah, I guess we did have in hand, so okay, yeah, makes sense. He's gonna get a point, he's gonna get a draw. We're gonna get 1 point for holding. Yeah, we're kind of debating this round because we want to play the Leona, and we probably also want to... Yeah, okay, so I decided to not go back to the base because I also want to play out the Hourglass. So we hide the Hourglass. Yeah, like this is really scary because he could just kill the Clockwork Keeper and I would be forced to use the Hourglass in response. But I also know that he doesn't really care that much about the Clockwork Keeper, but he does really care about the Leona. So he's probably just gonna wanna target the Leona anyways. Plus the Leona doesn't have any buffs, so he doesn't have to pay deflect cost for it. So that's why I feel that this Hourglass is pretty reliably gonna save the Leona anyways. So let's see what he does here. Okay, he's gonna move back, he got his hold point. Okay, he is Shakedown. Okay, well, Shakedown, I mean, the Shakedown kind of sucks because we do get the choice to kill our Leona or just let him draw 2. And I mean, it sucks to let Kaiser draw 2, but we don't want to spend the Hourglass here because the Hourglass is specifically for Falling Star. So yeah, I think we just have to let him draw 2 here. Because, yeah. Yeah, because like if we use the Hourglass there and he has a Falling Star in hand, then that's just gonna kill the Leona anyways. So if we can keep the Leona safe by letting him draw 2, we are still gonna do that. Okay, he's gonna play a Seal. Which is really annoying because it kind of plays around the Spirit's Refuge. But okay, he is gonna play the Falling Star. So now we're gonna use the Hourglass and then just save the Leona. Okay, we're gonna get 1 more point for holding. Okay, so I decided to play out the Falcon in the base, and then I'm just gonna pass just because I wanna have some energy up, because I want to be able to use the Call of Glory without spending the buff on the Clockwork Keeper, in case he tries to like do something to my Leona again. So that's why I did it that way. Okay, he's gonna go get the Conqueror, and hopefully my plan is to go stun that and attack it next turn. And yeah, that is gonna be a Singularity. I mean, he does have to play the Deflect cost, but since he had the Seal, he could just pay the Deflect with that. But we do have the Call of Glory, so we can actually buff the Leona up here for free, which is actually gonna save it. So yeah, Call of Glory just really good in this deck. Yep, Leona's gonna go to 7. Now she only has 1 health left, but he is out of energy, so he can't really do anything to kill it off. Yep, he's gonna get a point, and then he passes to us. Yeah, so the Leona obviously not a 7, not a 7 white unit anymore. We are gonna go into the Kaiser, try to stun and attack it, and he doesn't have anything left, so we are gonna get that 1. We're gonna get a buff from the Leona ability and then get a point. So now the Leona has Deflect, which is where we want to be, essentially. We're gonna go buff up the Scout just to be able to take out the Ravenloom student. Yep, get another point, clear his board. And I mean, he's probably gonna get the kill the Scout off with the Ballista next turn anyways. But I think just getting that extra point and getting the Ravenloom student off the board is it's worth it. Then we are gonna play out the other Leona and pass the turn. Okay, so now we have 2 Leonas on board, and yeah, I have the Hourglass in the champion zone. I mean, that is a champion, but not the champion. So let's see how long it takes me to notice it. Yep, he's gonna ping off the Scout. We can't really do... I mean, we could use the On Guard, but no, it's not worth it. The Scout has done his job already, and we get the rune back, so... it's not the worst. And yep, that is a Falling Star. We're kind of debating, like, okay, should we use the buff to Call of Glory the Leona in the back, but then we lose the buff on the one in the front? So it's kind of a decision you have to make. Like, it could be worth it to use the Call of Glory also, but then, I mean, then it's just gonna also be able to kill the other one. So yeah, let's see what happens. Let's see what I do. Yeah, so the thing here that we both realized that I hadn't thought of before is that the Falling Star doesn't actually target before it resolves, because the beginning of the card says do this twice, and then it says deal 3 to unit. So when you play the Falling Star, and it's the same with both Falling Star and the Acathian Rain, the Kai's signature spell, is that they don't target before they resolve. So that's why I was like, okay, well, I have to buff up the Leon in the front then, because if I don't, then he's just gonna be able to kill that. So this way he is gonna be able to kill the Leon in the back. But the one in the front is still alive, and because of the Spirit's Refuge, it's gonna be really expensive for him to kill that. And also he has to deal 7 damage, or I guess, yeah, 7 damage, but he's on the Void Gate, so it's... Okay, so he has double Ballista. We're gonna get a point for holding. We're gonna move the Leona off that battlefield because we don't want the Ballistas to deal 3 damage each. Then we're gonna play another Spirit's Refuge. Now, unfortunately, the Spirit's Refuge don't stack, but you do get another buff. So yeah, I'm just gonna buff that out to make our board a bit more resilient. And then I noticed that the Zani's Hourglass is in the champion zone, so I just correctly move that to the trash. And then just pass to him. We don't really have anything else we can do here. We have one last card in our hand. So let's see if he drew the third Falling Star, because he's already played 2 this game. Even though we have managed to play around it pretty efficiently. Yep, he's gonna get 1 point there for conquering with the Raven Bloom. And then, yeah, that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 energy. So that is probably gonna be a singularity. Yeah, and then again, like, we have the Color Glory, so we can just buff up the Leona. Yep. But then he also has the smoke screen. So unfortunately, he does get to remove both our units. And from this point, it is pretty difficult to get back. Like, we don't have any cards left. So at this point, we're kind of top decking, and Leona does not top deck really well. Like, yeah, we just draw the Zenith Blade. Doesn't do anything for us. He gets a point for holding. Then yeah, he's gonna go back to us. So we get the Poro. So I mean, there is a small chance that we could be able to like do something with this. Because when he attacks with the Raven Bloom student, we could use the Zenith Blade in response to move the Poro in. So yeah, like at this point, it's really hard for us to get back, and we're just gonna fast forward a bit. Yep. So he played the Thousand-Tailed Watcher, and yeah, like that is just gonna be game for us, because like even if we do get the even if we use the Zenith Blade to kill the Raven Bloom student, he's just gonna be able to kill it off with the ballistas anyways, and then he's gonna get a hold point for the Thousand-Tailed Watcher. So that's not gonna work either. And then he's just gonna win on the next turn. Yeah, so he conquers 1 with Thousand-Tailed Watcher. And then he's debating, do I want to conquer or do I not want to conquer the other one? And then yeah, he just decides to go for the other battlefield. And like, yeah, at this point we did draw 2 stun spells, but when we're attacking, the stun doesn't do anything unless we can kill the units we're attacking. So yeah, at this point it's just game over. Sometimes you just run out of resources, and then, you know, it's pretty hard to come back, because as I said, Leona does not top deck very well, especially not this version of it. So yeah, but okay, on to the next game. So, game 3 against Ahri. Now, as you can see, I already started, because I again forgot to turn the recording off. But we are on the Monastery of Harana again, and our opponent is on the Dreaming Tree. So these are both battlefields that we could benefit from. On our turn 1, we just played a Poro, and just passed the turn to him. So let's see what happens. Okay, he's gonna lead off with an Ahri. Yep, classic. Now, this hand it could be so good, because if we had a buff spell here, we could have like conquered with the Poro and then used the charm on the Ahri to bring it in, and then buff the Poro up, like with a discipline or an on guard, for example. But we don't have the buff spell, so unfortunately we're not able to deal with the Ahri this turn, which is really sad. But okay, well, we'll just have to live with it. Let's see what we do. Okay, we're gonna conquer 1. Conquer the Dreaming Tree and get 1 point, not 2 points. Yep, correcting that. And then we are gonna play out the Ahri. Oh, the Ahri, the Leona. Man, I'm getting confused here. And he's gonna attack with the Ahri, clearing off the Poro. And yeah, now here our opponent makes a giant mistake, because when Leona gets moved in like this, she's gonna come in attacking, which means she's gonna get her stun off. Which means that if he had just played another unit at the battlefield before doing this, he could have killed the Leona off. But since he didn't do that, this charm is not gonna accomplish anything, and Leona's just gonna get moved back to the base. So this is a huge mistake that, I mean, if he killed the Leona there, then we would be in a really tough spot. But the fact that he didn't do that turns out to matter a lot in this game. And yep, he plays the Sunlit Guardian. Like, if he had played that first, my Leona would have been dead. But he didn't, so, which we're happy about, but you know, that is a huge mistake from our opponent. Yeah, we're all gonna conquer the Monastery. We're gonna spend the buff to draw 1. That is a Zani's Hourglass, which is probably the best card we could have drawn there. We're gonna play out a Poro, strengthening that location. Because now, at this point, it's like, okay, I'm ahead on points because I mean I should have 2 points here. I'm ahead on points, so if we just keep holding these battlefields, then I'm gonna win. And Ahri also just wants to stay on one battlefield and just kind of hold on and just keep building that up. But since we are ahead on points, Ahri has to like interact with us. We don't have to interact with him, which is really nice. So let's see if we can brace this out. Yep, we're gonna hide the hourglass, get a point, and then we're just passing to him. And we have the rune prison in case something happens. So yeah, we're feeling pretty good right now. Plays out another Poro. Okay, that doesn't accomplish anything. Or I guess it accomplishes something, but not what he wants to accomplish. He's gonna play Stupefy just to get the draw. And that is gonna get him to draw 2 because he is on the Dreaming Tree, so that's pretty good for him. We're gonna get a point. Again, being ahead, we're gonna play the Clockwork Keeper, draw 1. The Facebreaker is really good. It's really defensive card. And then yeah, just passing back. And this is a slow grind, but we are on top. So if this keeps up, then we're just gonna win. Okay, he's gonna play the Seal out. And then he's gonna play the Blitzcrank. Now the Blitzcrank could be a problem. Because he's gonna be able to use that every turn, and that's why Blitzcrank is so good in Ahri, because like the Leona is gonna stun the Blitzcrank and get a buff, but she's also gonna get -3 from both the Ahri champion and the legend. So Blitzcrank is just such a house in this deck. And we don't have any buff spells still. We only have stun spells and like units. So yeah, we can't really do anything. We're just gonna let the Leona die and then use the hourglass to save it again. Yep. We are gonna draw a Poro, we're gonna get a point for holding, we're just gonna move the Leona straight back, and then we're gonna try to charm the Blitzcrank into our base, or into our battlefield. Unfortunately, he has the Defy, so that doesn't work. Which means, well, I mean, we are gonna play the second Leona as well. Yep. And then passing the turn, holding up energy for either Rune Prison or the Facebreaker. He's gonna get a point for holding. The Blitzcrank is gonna get bounced back. And now he's gonna play the Riptide Rex, which is not a card that I was expecting. But okay, well, because I had the second Leona, so it doesn't really matter that much. And if he ever tries to attack with the Riptide Rex, we can just stun it from here to eternity, so it doesn't really hurt us that bad. We do draw the Call to Glory. Or Call of Glory, is that what it's called? We play out the Poro, just building up this battlefield. We could play out the Clockwork Keeper here, but I think we just rather want to have many spells open, because we only have 1 buff on the battlefield, and we want to be able to possibly play the Call to Glory without spending the buff to be as efficient as possible. He's gonna go up to 5, and yeah, I mean we're nearing the end here. He's gonna play out the Blitzcrank again. Yep, we've been through this before. The Leona comes in. He's gonna stun the Blitzcrank, so that's not gonna deal any damage. The Leona is gonna go to a 3. I'm sorry, it's gonna go to a 2. And then yeah, here I am deciding to use the Call of Glory to buff it up, because I do want to try to take out some of his stuff as well, or ideally the Blitzcrank. So right now I am on 5, and yeah, he does have the discipline, so that doesn't work unfortunately. But yeah, I mean we had to go for it. We did draw the Zenith Blade, which could come in handy. Maybe not. But like at this point, like this is where you see the strength of all the stun spells, because like he can keep Blitzcranking to remove my stuff, but as long as I have 1 guy at the battlefield, he can't really attack into it, because if he wants to attack with the Riptide Rex, for example, I can just stun it, and then it would just get bounced back. So yeah, the Blitzcrank is annoying, but like if you just take a step back, you actually notice that it doesn't really hurt us like at all. Because I have 4 units on there now, and he has to use a Blitzcrank 4 more times and hope that I don't draw another unit before he can actually like clear my whole battlefield. So yeah, we're just gonna play out the Soaring Scout. Yep, get another unit there. He's Blitzcrank gonna get bounced back. And we are now 2 turns off. And now here comes the big guy. Now this would spell doom for us normally. But we do have a bunch of stun spells in our hand. He was gonna attack with both of those, and we are just gonna say, well, hey, if you got the defy, you got the defy. But if you don't have the defy, well, the stupefy doesn't work. Okay, he's gonna use the stupefy to draw one. That's fine. And we're gonna stun it again, or stun the other one. Yeah, and then like that, none of our guys die. Both of his guys gets bounced back. Both of his guys gets bounced back. And we live to see another day. And we actually, since we do have quite a lot of units, and because both the Poros have Defender, so he's gonna play down. So he played down the Thousand-Tailed Watcher, gave everything a -3. But then when he attacked, both the Poros got a buff, or got a boost from the shield. So we were actually able to take out the Thousand-Tailed Watcher there, just from sheer numbers alone. Yep, we're gonna draw the Eclipse Herald here. It's really tempting to play down the Eclipse Herald onto the battlefield, but I want to have all the reaction energy up, as much reaction energy up as possible. And if I play that, I only have enough for On Guard, which is I'm gonna have to save up to try to take out or to stun the Riftbound Rex if he wants to attack into the battlefield. So I'm just gonna stay like this. And if he can't remove my stuff this turn, then I'm just gonna win. Yep, another Blitzcrank. That doesn't really hurt us at all. Poro gets dead. Poro dies. Then he's on 4 more runes, and yeah, that's probably, yeah, you got the one for holding. And yeah, that's probably the game right there. Yeah, thumbs up. Yeah, that was a really fun game. I'm not, just for the record, I'm not BMing. Okay, we were in a voice chat and kind of just shooting the shit at the same time as we were playing this game. But yeah, like that is the strength of the stun spells on defense. Because like all of our guys are so small, and like when he attacked with the Riftbound Rex and the Thousand-Tailed Watcher, like we were gonna be obliterated. But with the 2 spells, we stopped both those attacks, and the numbers didn't matter anymore. And we were even able to take out the Thousand-Tailed Watcher. That is one of the strengths of this deck. And also you can kind of see, like in those situations, the Face Breaker didn't really matter. It didn't matter that we stunned one of our own units, because that wasn't the point. The point wasn't to kill something. The point was to just stop the opponent from killing our stuff. So yeah, really fun game, and yeah, let's move on to the next one. And for our final game, we are playing against Kaiser again. We're trying to get our revenge this time. We got kind of obliterated last time. So looking at this hand, we have Defy and then 3 pump spells, which is not great, but let's see what happens. And we draw into the Charm, which is also not great, so we just have to pass here. And fortunately for us, our opponent bricked as well, so he also couldn't play anything. And like this, like we have 4 runes, but they're all calm, so we can't play the Leona. And we didn't draw units, so we just have to pass again. So this is not the ideal start, and our revenge is kind of slipping away from us here. But fortunately, our opponent is kind of in the same situation, so yeah, let's see how this game develops. Okay, he's gonna play out the Kaiser, I assume. Yep, and he goes Conquering there, gets a draw. I don't have anything to stop that. And I am going to play out the Leona. And I mean, I have to play out the Hourglass, because if he Falling Starred that at that point, then that would have just been the end of the game for me. But okay, he's gonna get 1 point more for holding. Gonna go up to 2. He's gonna retreat back to the base. He's gonna play a Ravenbloom student. And then he's gonna Shakedown, and you know, yeah, it's standard procedure. It sucks to have him get like, what is he at, like 9 cards in hand now? But we want to save the Zani's Hourglass for the Falling Star. Because that is what's gonna get us. Because everything else we can defy, and But the Falling Star is a bit different. Yeah, he gets another shakedown, and well, you got it, opponent. You're gonna be at 9 cards in hand. No runes though, so we are gonna get this Conquer safely. So we just Conquer here, get a point. And then this might seem like a horrible situation, which, I mean, is not great, but we do have a lot of pump spells in hand, so we might actually be able to get through this. We draw another pump spell, so we have 3 Call to Glory in our hand now. So we drew one end of the deck and then just nothing from the other end. Okay, he's gonna go Conquering there, get another point, get another draw, so he's currently at 11 cards in hand, which is not where you want to be against Kaiser. But even though 11 cards in hand is a lot, he still only has 7 runes to work with. And I have Zani's Hourglass, so he's gonna have to work he's gonna have to work a bit to get rid of my Leona. Okay, he's gonna Hextech Ray. We're just gonna let that one through. Yep. So we're at 1 health. He's gonna play another Hextech Ray, and we're not gonna use the Defy, we're just gonna use the Call of Glory to buff it up. Because the Defy is better used like if you place something that deals more damage. Like a Void Seeker, for example. Yeah, Call of Glory, so yeah, it's gonna stay at 1. Yeah, so I kinda messed around with a bit with the counters here. So the red ones means, like, the red one means damage. So I have 6 damage, and the 3 one means buffs or boosts. So I'm on 7 might, sort of, and then 6 damage. So I am on 1 health. And then a Nox is hopeful. And then it's gonna pass the turn, and Leona actually survives. Okay, so that's 1 turn. That's a Conquer, and we get another draw. Another pump spell, naturally, because that is kind of what we're doing this game, I guess. And then we also drew the Poro, so we do finally get another unit, which is nice. So I play out the Poro here, and in some cases this could be not a smart move, because he could kill the Poro and then force me to use the Hourglass, so I can't save Leona with it. But still, like, if he wants to deal a lot of damage to the Poro, I can still buff that up as well. So he's still gonna work hard to kind of take care of my stuff here. Okay, he's gonna go 1 more point for holding. We are gonna get yeah, we're gonna move back. I didn't do it in my turn, but I kind of forgot, but he let me do it even though I passed the turn. Yeah, we don't really want to stay in there when he has the Noxus Hopeful and the Ravenbloom Student and everything. Okay, he's gonna move the Kaiser back, and he's gonna Conquer with the Noxus Hopeful. Yep. Yep, and he's gonna play a Falling Star. I'm gonna buff up the Discipline, so he probably targeted both of those, 1 each. So the Poro is gonna go down to a 1. This was before we realized that Falling Star doesn't target until it's until it resolves. So I wouldn't actually have been able to protect something here. If I buffed the Poro, then he would have just dealt 6 to the Leona, and if I buffed the Leona, then he still could have just dealt 6 to it. So yeah, this was, I mean, not cheating, I guess, but we just didn't know the rules. But for now, so like next time, that wouldn't happen. Yep. But we are gonna draw 1 off the Discipline. He's gonna play a Darius. Only has 2 runes left on our turn. Our units are still alive. We draw another Poro and a Facebreaker. We're gonna go Conquer here, stun the Noxus Hopeful. Hopefully. And he's gonna use the Retreat. I don't think he thought through that properly, because he told me like that I could like get the counter and then it would retreat. But you can actually retreat in response to the stun, so that I wouldn't actually be able to stun something and I wouldn't get the buff. And then I am gonna charm in the Kaiser, because I mean he does have 1 rune up, so we could do something, but I have so much. I have so many things in my hand, so yeah, this is just gonna very cleanly take care of that Kaiser. Unless he retreats it, which he does, and in that case it's not gonna do anything. So Kaiser goes back to the hand, I Conquer 1 more, and I play out another Poro, and then I pass to him. And yeah, I mean, for having bricked so hard in the beginning, we're actually doing pretty alright. He's gonna play the Void Seeker. Now this is the card that I would have used the Defy for. And I'm instead just gonna use the Call to Glory. Just because I have so much energy. Or so many runes up that I might as well just use it. So that's gonna be in 1. Be at 1. Again, like he got 3 buff from the Call to Glory and then 4 damage from the Void Seeker. So he is at 1 health. Then he's gonna Void Seeker again to try to kill it. We are actually gonna defy that, deny him that value. So he's not gonna get the card draw either. But the Darius is gonna get a buff. Or he's gonna get boosted. So he's gonna be a 2. Then he's gonna Void Seeker again, the 3rd Void Seeker. And yeah, like at this point we're just forced to use the Hourglass. Okay, he's gonna go conquering the other battlefield. He does not dare to attack the Leona. He's gonna get a point, go up to 6. And he's gonna play out another seal. And a Ravenbloom student. And we're gonna get 1 for the draw and then 1 for holding as well. So we're gonna draw into an On Guard and an Hourglass, which, I mean, that's exactly what we want here. Some extra protection. And then I'm thinking, okay, I can discipline the Poro. Swing in with both. Then being able to take out the Darius. I mean, he is on the reverse row, so he could just move back. But here I'm at least threatening to take it out. And if he moves back, then both of my guys are going to survive anyways. So this is pretty good for us. Yep. We get a point. And now, I mean, we're not that far off just winning this game. Off a terrible start. We are debating playing the Poro out. Yeah, but we are. And then we are going to recycle 1 to just hide the Hourglass. And then pass to him. And he's going to play out the Thousand-Tailed Watcher, giving everything -3. Also going to play Noxus Hopeful. So yeah, apparently he didn't draw that many spells this game. Which, I mean, it drew quite a lot, but not as many as he would like to. Okay, he's gonna attack into the little battlefield with the Watcher and the Darius. And we are gonna stun both the Watcher and the Darius. And the reason we did it this way is just because this forces him to to being able to attack into the battlefield with the Ravenbloom students. And if he can't do that, then we're just gonna win because we're gonna hold until the next round to get 2 points. Yeah, and then if he does attack, we still have like the Call to Glory and the On Guard in hand. Okay, he does have the Retreat, which, well, I mean, the Retreat doesn't do anything here. I mean, I guess it buffs up the Ravenbloom students, but it's not going to be enough. Yep, yeah, and then he just goes for the attack. He has to do that. Yep, play Call to Glory, gonna bring our total might up to 7, and his total might is at 6. So unless he has a spell that costs 1 here, we're just gonna win the game. And it didn't show in the video, but it turned out that he didn't have anything. So we actually won this game. And that's a pretty good showcase of the strength of Leona. Like, we clawed through that from the beginning. From like the first card we played was on turn 3, where we played Leona, because on turn 2 we only had green runes, so we couldn't do anything. And this really showcases the strength of this deck. Like, with all the buff spells and the Hourglasses, it's so hard for Kaiser to get through. And I mean, even though he didn't draw a lot of spells at the end, he still did draw, like, he drew his whole playset of the Void Seeker, he drew 2 Shakedowns, he had Falling Stars, so he did draw a lot, but he just didn't draw enough, because we had so many defensive spells to kind of protect our stuff from them. So yeah, that was a really good showcase. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is Leona. Now, I'm so happy that I kept playing this deck and kept tweaking the deck list, because in the beginning I felt that she just had no potential at all and that she was just really inconsistent. But now with this deck, I feel that she is such a powerhouse, and like the inclusion of the Eclipse Herald, like the Eclipse Herald is so good that it just blows my mind that more people are not playing this. Like, it just does so much for the deck. And then also like the Face Breakers, like, in the beginning, it just felt like it was such a drawback that you had to stun your own units. So in the beginning, I was like, okay, should I play it with tokens? Is that like a strategy? But then now it's like, no, but this is just purely a defensive card. You're just going to stun your opponent's stuff so they can't take over your battlefield. It's that simple. And like also the inclusion of the battlefields, like all battlefields being draw battlefields, is so good for the deck, because that is like one of the ways you lose the game. And you saw that in one of the games we played today, against the Kaiser deck, we just ran out of resources. And just being able to mitigate that through the battlefields, it's so good. So yeah, this is a deck that I'm really proud of, and I can't wait to see what other cards we get to synergize with this leader, like in the upcoming sets. But yeah, people, that is the end of the video. I really hope you enjoyed it. Please leave a like and subscribe if you want to see more from me. And you're also welcome to join the Discord channel that is going to be linked in the description. And with that, I hope you have a wonderful day. Take care, and I hope to see you in the next one. Bye bye.